Alvin YouTube, what's going on, Lankofski, and welcome back to the final episode review of Ahsoka, episode 8. We are once again joined by our fellow co-host, Mr. Lewbcon. Say hello.
Hello.
Short and sweet, as always. Yep, this is the finale. This is part 8. Let's just get it over and let's just get it over and done with. I've got a bad feeling about this. References everywhere.
It wouldn't be a Dave Filoni show without one, would it? Do you want me to start the run through?
Yeah, take
are we
reins.
going with the title screen name, or are we gonna get to that when it comes?
We'll get to that. All
right, you're gonna have to jump in because I actually can't remember when it jumps in. But it kicks off, and we're catching up with everybody's favorite James Bond villain in space, Mr. Thrawn.
And the second worst CGIs in the series.
And that's not quite a lot to digest there, but yeah. So we kick off from last time, and the cargo transfer has been complete at last, which feels like it's been going on for days at this point. But they finally kicked it off, and he asked for the Eye of Sion, the big fuck off space thing that they used to jump through galaxies.
The hyperloop.
Yeah, the hyperdrive thingy-mabobby to be brought out of orbit into the atmosphere, and they're going to do the interlock procedure. So they're going to essentially attach the the Chimera, the ISD Chimera to it. And they also note that they have found the Jedi shuttle where it was when they lost the battle, lost in quotation marks because they didn't really lose, they kind of retreated. And he basically says send 2 TIE fighters, which goes back to a previous point that Lank and Sam made last time of where are the TIE fighters?
Yeah. As we do see from that point, actually I don't know if you see it when we're set off. You get to see him leave the ship hangar, or leave the hangar, and there's a fair few TIE fighters there, so why they didn't
He's saving resource.
Yeah, okay.
But,
and then we cut to
Magic.
Yeah, Magic Morgan, who gets a promotion. Well done. She's done her job.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Done her job. GG's in the comments. So the Night Sisters give her a promotion and do voodoo magic on her, and then she gets a cool new sword because we need another sword in Star Wars. We need one. There's not enough.
There's a lot to unpack, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, you get the reference of, it's the Jedi can't stop us, and Thrawn's I've underestimated the Jedi before. Don't fall them like I have.
Yeah. Thrawn's not coming back. Well, are you sure about that? That whole sort of thing. It's so at least Thrawn's learned, unlike the fucking Republic.
But yeah, they offered the gift of shadows because she heard their dreams and nightmares across the stars. It's all whimsical, Shakespearean shit, and they basically said you want to abandon your life for this one. And at this point, I was super confused. I was like, are they going to sacrifice her? What's going on here?
Yeah.
But they, I've got it written down as they burn her face with magic. They basically do I don't even know, when people poke people's eyes out, they kind of that, but instead of poking their eyes out, it kind of blinds her, which somehow makes her stronger. Not quite sure how that works, but
Cool. I didn't know how to phrase it, so that's why I just put Morgan gets a promotion, because I'm how do you even say what's happening?
It looked cool though, her eyes, her skin was glowing green from fucking 3rd-degree burns that they were giving her.
Yeah.
It was if you've ever put your hand on something that's come out of the oven, it was just burning. She got the cool markings.
We do not condone self-harm.
Yeah, don't do. Well, I didn't say self-harm. It's literally someone else doing the harm. And then they're we get another reference back to the Clone Wars, because Dave Filoni, and we see Mother Talzin's sword that she used to fight Mace Windu. And that's and Lank's thing. It was exciting. So exciting that a noise went off. I don't know what that was, but we're gonna carry on anyway.
Yeah. Albeit have just been defeated by Torres
But yeah, we see Mother Talzin's sword. There's a fight throwback Clone Wars where Mace Windu fought Mother Talzin, and I think it looks quite cool.
It does look a cool sword. It's
It reminds me of something out of like Dark Souls, where it's like a blade made of metal, but it's like glowing with this like green fire.
It reminds me of like a sith sword that's just been changed colours
And
and like
enchanted.
it doesn't get heavy after you use it, and you don't have to defeat the. You know, it rings a bell, but I don't know. Anyway, and then bang, title screen, and we get to episode 8. And this, I was surprised there was this much writing on the screen when it happened.
I like
the Jedi,
title.
the Witch, and the
Warlord.
Warlord.
Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. You are a big Narnia fan out there, then.
Yeah. Who's who? Who? Yeah. Yeah, we get title screen, and then after that, it cuts to
everybody's favorite.
Yeah, it cuts to Mr. Blue Eyes constructing a new lightsaber because we just need another new lightsaber out there.
Like his
not enough.
Like his lightsaber, it is blue.
Yeah. Yes, its eyes are violently, awfully blue. If they have not been CG'd in some way or another, and that's his natural eye color,
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. They're really they are CGI'd. They are.
I want to see
Ezra. Like eyes don't glow like.
No, you keep going. I'm going. For
so anyway,
Ezra.
We get a little back and forth between Pyongyang and Ezra, and he's talking about constructing his lightsaber, and then we get another mention of the rebels where we hear about Kanan, and he says how he taught Kanan at the Jedi Temple. He taught him how to build a lightsaber. We get another callback. It's all good, and then.
Oh my god, the guy's eyes in real life are dark brown.
I know they are. That's probably why they're so, that's probably why they're so bright. Is the thing.
Right, where are we?
But anyway,
keep going.
It's gonna take too long, so we'll just Lank can flash it up on screen during the thing. It's fine. But
look, there we go. Look at his eyes. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. It's all gone Pete talk. Where? No, you can't see it. Oh, it's all
fine. We can do it in post production. It's fine. So then Ezra's like, what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine? Like, why was she not continue her training? Since he, left. And he's basically like, we get another reference, because, reference. Take a shot every time there's a reference. He basically references the Purge of Mandalore, where the Empire essentially bombed it to a hellhole. Like, they raised it from the ground up, and they massacred and purged everyone. And he was basically Ahsoka's reasoning for not continuing the training was she feared that if Sabine reached her full potential, she could become dangerous if she fell to the dark side, because she was becoming a Jedi for the wrong reason, aka the dark side. And revenge is not the Jedi way, as a famous Jedi once said. Was the Sith Lord there, but
yeah, this was just all filler shit, to be honest. Sabine was stood on the side of a door while Ezra and Huyang were talking, but she didn't want to say a word, but it just kept panning to her, and it was like zooming in her face, and no one actually give a fuck about her being there. And then when Ezra turned around and went to talk to Sabine, poof, like Batman, she vanished.
No, it's the line, isn't it? He says, as Kanan taught me how to build a lightsaber, did Ahsoka ever teach you? And she was like a bit awkward. She just a reason.
And then she jumps to the outside of a ship where Ahsoka is
chilling,
meditating, I believe. And then they have
nice heart to heart.
A shitty conversation, which is just part of fucking Star Wars these days. It's just pointless. So, what did you get from shops? Well, I got some Jaffa cakes. Ooh, the dark ones or the normal. That's a more interesting conversation than what they had.
And they were like, "Oh, you took the gamble, and it paid off to save Ezra." She's like, "I had to." Like, it seems like it worked. And then the super interesting conversation was interrupted by 2 TIE fighters appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty much. The TIE fighters finally showed up after all this time.
Yeah, like Game of Thrones, the dragons are coming.
Yeah. Pretty much, they all started somewhat fleeing. They protected the stone filler things with the ship. Then the ship got shot, and then Sabine decided to go full purple hair lady
You missed you missed the part where the stabilizers got shut out and Ahsoka and Ezra lifted the ship.
Do you know why I've missed it out? Because no one cares.
Yeah, they lifted the ship with the Force. You know, Sabine couldn't do it because she's not Force sensitive.
Yeah. Oh god, we've got to get to that later on.
But anyway, like you said, you want to go through the purple hair.
Sabine goes full purple hair lady, drives the ship straight into the two TIE fighters. TIE fighters go bang.
They take no damage.
Goes and has a little sizzle. Hu Yang's left with the storm filler things to repair the ship as.
Yeah, I don't know why they're in the ship. I don't know what benefit they could have. They don't. They like respectfully. They don't even speak Galactic Basic. Like, there's no way for them to communicate. They've never encountered technology by any means.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
but
just like,
hey, Star Wars. Everyone fixed electronics for some reason.
Yeah.
Where are we?
I did like, this next bit's quite cool. Thrawn basically says he gets told that they've been shot down and located, and he's like, they're coming to attack us. So he's like, prepare for a ground assault.
Yeah. Again, the whole very cool, calm, collected villain, which I love. It gets the night troopers, I believe they're called them.
They volunteer.
Some of them volunteer. It's a bit of an interesting thing, but we'll get onto later on. But they volunteer and go guard the bottom of the entrance to the henge. I haven't said that word for a while. Leeds have just won. All Leeds, aren't we? They go guard for the entrance to the henge.
I like that. I like the line where she said Morgan Elizabeth basically said Elsbeth. Sorry, they basically said they're prepared to sacrifice themselves, which is a bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah, very much. And then Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka turn up on their horses.
Dog things.
And not horses, wolves. On their wolves. That's it. And pretty much storm the Henge Temple, whatever it is. And I'm fucking out of whack.
I think they referred to it as.
Yeah, the fortress. And then Thrawn says to rain hellfire down on them from the Star Destroyer. And in Disney logic, Michael Bay levels of explosions happen. Lasers everywhere.
It did look cool.
It did not look cool. Because every second that someone hit the ground got hit by a laser, I was like, why are none of them dead? Spoilers, none of them died. They just ran through all the lasers.
My main problem with this scene is at the start, they're kind of dodging it, and it's like, well, they're using the Force. Like, halfway through, they just cut that, and they're just running in a strip.
Yeah, and then it's a big gate or a door to the entrance of the henge, or the temple, whatever we're calling it. Ahsoka tells Ezra to use the Force to open it, and then for some reason tells Sabine to use the Force to open it.
It's like, you got to help, you need, three's better than two.
So even though she can't actually do it, she's just...
She helped. She's like, it's like, do you know what it's like? It's when you get like a little kid and you like put the ball on the goal line, you get them to kick it over. Like, she's contributing in her own way.
And then the door doesn't open until Ahsoka uses the Force, because Ahsoka saves everything. And then the door opens at the very last minute and stays open for half a millisecond after they run through it, because Disney and my life just ends because this TV show peaked at episode 4 and has become an absolute joke.
I did like the part where he said, basically, we find out from Ezra that as they're riding into battle, that Thrawn awoken the witches when he arrived on Satos. And also, not Satos, Peridia, sorry. But also, when he's raining down hellfire, he basically said there will be no negotiating with the apprentice of Anakin, and we get another reference.
Yeah. But I did like that a little bit. But that got overshadowed by the laser thing. And then the night troopers were sent down to the bottom of the temple by Thrawn. Were then engaged with the 3 Jedi. And I don't know what it was about this whole battle sequence. I've just put weird battle with stormtroopers because it felt very, very strange. And I don't know I don't know whether it was a pacing, but basically started off all the night troopers are shooting at the three of them, and they're all deflecting with the lightsabers, blah blah blah, and then they decide to fall back, so the stormtroopers push out, and then Ahsoka tells Sabine to use her blasters, and then they start advancing and killing all the night troopers. It was a very weird scene. I don't know whether anyone else felt that way, but I felt very strange watching that scene for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say it looked really cool because you had Ahsoka in the middle with the white lightsabers, and then you had green and blue either side, and I thought that was quite visually pleasing. But yeah, the whole running towards and advancing on them, and then just getting gunned down one by one when they were pretty much just like they basically had them under what's the word? They basically just had constant fire, and they just had them pinned, and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Suppressive fire, that's it. They had them suppressed, and they couldn't do anything. And then, for some reason, they decide to charge them, and they just get massacred. And we finally see Ezra has decided to use a lightsaber again. I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
Gone from pacifist to just murdering them all.
Because Disney.
And they dispatch every single one without a scratch, pretty much. Or do they?
Yeah. And then they turn around and pretty much go, that was weirdly easy. Walk off up said stairs, and then is it Thrawn asks the mothers to use their magic again, and the mothers realize, and I quote, mothers realive stormtroopers zombified.
And they reanimate them, I guess. But,
yeah. So what Sam said a few episodes ago sort of rang true. I think it was even before that, to be honest. It rang very much true, but they are undead.
Yeah, they do that in the Clone Wars. No, I don't think they were undead at this point. I think they were resurrected, because in the Clone Wars, they bring the Night Sisters back alive. It's very much the same. They do this ritual, and all the green, vapor that they used to, burn Morgan is somehow bringing the essence of their life back. But they're not alive. They're very much like says zombified. I just had nightmare fuel cheesy 80s zombie flick is what I had. It was
this is some, sorry to jump in, this is something that I did miss out though. Somebody died from a lightsaber stab.
That is true.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. This since fucking what? Qui-Gon Jinn, someone actually died from a lightsaber stab.
Han Solo.
That's just. And what?
Han Solo.
Yeah, we don't talk about
the dark times.
The dark times. Basically, the three Jedis then start running up through a temple. There's a big spiral staircase or something like that.
Hate the scene. I really detest it.
Yeah. The zombies are running after them, and pew pew, every laser misses because Disney. And then they shut a door, and it's just...
You get the part where they, come from a side door that nobody notices, and they grab him, and he's, getting dragged away, and Sabine saves him, and it's just, they slam the doors shut, and they're all, zombified, and you hit them, and they fall down, but get back up, and it's just, it's
such an awkward, awful scene. And then, Thrawn, it cuts back to the top, and Thrawn pretty much asks Morgan to sacrifice herself, she's the last line of defense if a Jedi get any further up towards the top of the monument.
He asks for more time,
tower.
Doesn't he?
He asks for more time, and she says, "Yes, my master." No,
and then she says, "For Dathomir."
For Dathomir. Yeah. And then, the Jedis all get away fully unscathed, even though they've been running up a narrow corridor with lasers blasting at them. Because
they locked them off, didn't they?
Yeah, and then we get an Ahsoka v Morgan 1v1, which I will say from the start, the first bit of this fight was the choreography for it was
some of the best,
insanely good.
Yeah,
it was. Watching it, if that had gone on for longer, I got vibes of Revenge at Sith.
Wasn't that
good. Phantom Menace, the end of Phantom Menace with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. I thought the choreography for that little bit of fight was on point. Everything after that was vile, but yeah.
Yeah. Morgan's like stood in this room, and I just had 90s Japanese. What was it?
Yeah, I know what I mean.
90s Japanese, and it was either like a samurai or a kendo fight, and it was like you had like the Japanese like doors where it's like the slidey doors, and you had the music playing, and like they were stood there. It was straight out of like a Bruce Lee. It was like Enter the Dragon type of situation with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, or like a Steven Seagal movie type of thing.
Oh god, Steven Seagal, that's what it was.
It was a Steven Seagal, the perfect analogy. And then like this awkward moment where Sabine and like Ezra just go around her, and she's like, I want nothing to do with you. Stalker is my target. And I'm like,
there's a one point where they're like Ezra and Sabine are stood right behind Morgan. I was just like, why not just
go for it?
Just do it.
Yeah, 3v1.
That's what I mean. But hey, yeah, whatever.
But yeah, she's holding Mother Talzin's blade. We get the fight sequence, and like Lank said, best fight sequence in the show.
Maybe not the best fight sequence in the show.
I think it is. This first part is anyway, and it gets.
Yeah, the first part is. I'm trying to think back at others that could have been.
The only other good ones were Shin Hati versus Sabine, Ahsoka versus Balin. And that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And
it was definitely over.
There's also Anakin versus Ahsoka, which is good for different reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, then as they're fighting, oh god, we've got to get to this bit.
The Star Destroyer launches off, the Chimera lifts off.
Yeah, Thrawn sets off from the monument, and then as Morgan and Ahsoka are fighting, Ezra and Sabine advance towards the Star Destroyer. Yeah. And they're happened upon? I don't know. I can't think of a word.
It's a trap almost, isn't it? Like,
they're happened upon by two...
I don't even know what they are. They're like undead, but they're not.
Yeah, they're like undead.
They're more like Marek. Not Death Troopers.
They were a little bit like Death Troopers, weren't they? What were the fucking big angry black troopers from Mando Season 1?
Yeah, they're Death Troopers.
Yeah, they were a little bit like them. At one point, I thought they all had Beskar armor as well, because...
The lightsabers were bouncing. It was back in Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, it was an interesting little fight, to be honest, because both Ezra and Sabine...
They get bested.
They were getting bested, and Sabine got to a point where she was being pinned up against the wall by one of the Death Troopers, or whatever we want to call them. I'm just going to call it a Death Trooper. She was being pinned up, being choked by the Death Trooper, and then Disney. She got a lightsaber and a blasters knocked out of her hands, and basically lightsaber in distance, Sabine dying. She now can use the Force.
It's like Luke Skywalker on Hoth. She's reaching out.
No,
she's reaching out, and you see the little move, the little flicker, and then it moves some more, and then she's.
Go on, keep going.
I was just gonna say she's getting to the point where she's getting choked out, and it's looking dire. Ezra's in trouble, and then she channels the Force.
Yeah, I've got in my notes Sabine used Force instead of dying, because I got to a point where she had her hand out to try and use the Force and it wasn't moving, and I was actually happy she was going to die, because that character is just ass. I just
she's good in Rebels.
All right, she was good in Rebels. Anything in this live action episode, in this live action series, the only two things that have been good are Shin Hati and Balin Skoll.
Thrawn and Anakin were good.
Anakin to an extent, Thrawn, meh. I like his cool calm collected. But yeah, Sabine and everyone else pretty much pisses me off. But yeah, she manages to muster the Force, stabs the Death Trooper.
This was cool.
Yeah, I did like that bit. It sort of reminded me a bit of the Dark Times, where a certain Ren did it in a certain fight in a throne room with a certain Jedi that never received any training and sort of just became one of the most powerful Jedi's ever been.
Did you not see where she she basically grabs the lightsaber and ignites it, and it goes through the skull of this trooper, even though the armor blocked the lightsaber before, but hey ho. And it kind of lights up his eyes, because at this point he's very much undead almost.
Yeah.
But it
pretty much zombified.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
the eye sockets illuminate like a jack-o'-lantern. It was really cool, bright thing. And then, do you want to do the Ezra part? Because this part really pissed me off, to be honest.
Are you thinking about the part that I think you're thinking of?
Basically, Sabine does that, and then she pulls her blaster out for some reason, instead of using the lightsaber, and starts shooting the trooper that's battering Ezra, which gives him a split second to grab his lightsaber, and then he chops the head off. But then the camera flicks away as he chops his head off. And I'm like, why have you done it off camera? But they do it off camera.
I know why they did it off camera, because
it's Mace Windu.
Yes. Reference, Dave Filoni, reference, each reference more.
So he chops his head off, you see the helmet spin, and...
Yeah, it was very Jango Fett, Mace Windu in the battle of... Geonosis, that's the one, thank you. Yeah. Oh, God, I really need to mute my phone, don't I? Really need to mute my phone. Yes, it was very reminiscent of yet another reference shoved down our throat because, hey, finale, let's just do them all. And then they stand on edge of henge. Storm, not the fucking storm. This is how bad this bit.
The Chimera.
Yeah, Sabine and Ezra stood on the edge of a henge. Thrawn's taken off in the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer is far away from a henge, and Ezra goes, I cannot make that jump. To which I agree. Even a Jedi cannot make that jump. I can't do this bit. This series has killed so much for me. It's vile.
And Sabine turns around to him and says, have you considered a running jump?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, can't use the Force. And she's like, trust me, I can. Taking the risk, I walk 5 minute fast course, crash course type of situation, jump, and I'll push you. And he's like, I trust only in the Force, and you, Sabine, I trust you. So he runs back, he does a little jump, he jumps, he doesn't make it, and then she pushes him, and then he just about makes it, and then he misses. And he falls to his death, and the credits roll.
Is this an actual thing? Because this has never been ever mentioned in another Star Wars, and technically yes it could work, but why did we have to do it like it did with two characters in a live action series who are pointless, and I hate both of them?
Anyway, we Ezra, the two stormtroopers basically looking at them, and then Ezra's falls to his death, but then he uses the Force to jump up, and he jumps up and takes both the stormtroopers out, and then he signals to Sabine for her to jump, and he'll pull her over. But then we flash back to Ahsoka, who's fighting Morgan, and
Morgan does best her to an extent. She breaks one of Ahsoka's lightsabers, so it's literally 1v1 right now. But Morgan is getting the better of her.
I will say one thing though on the Sabine thing. Where's her jetpack? She's a Mandalorian. Where's the jetpack? That's my first thought. I was like,
to be quite honest, when I first saw the gap, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, she's going to use a jetpack. Then I thought, hang on a minute, I haven't really seen a jetpack.
Yeah, she's don't have it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Morgan's besting Ahsoka.
Yeah. So basically, you see Ezra panning down. It looks like Sabine's going to jump and follow through on the plan that they arranged. It flicks to Ahsoka fighting Morgan. Ahsoka is bested to an extent, and then
the Dark Troopers that we forgot about earlier. Not Dark Troopers. Shadow Troopers? Whatever.
Shadow Troopers, yeah.
They all managed to get the door open because, timing. They all run into the room, and Ahsoka's in trouble.
Yep, but then, hey ho, here she comes to save the day, just in the nick of time.
You missed the line out. She goes, you are trapped here.
Oh,
Thrawn has escaped, and Morgan turns and goes, Thrawn has escaped. You have failed. You will die. You will be trapped here, and you will die alone. And then the camera pans up, and Sabine is stood there, and she chose Ahsoka over victory yet again.
Yeah.
And
She's not alone. That's what
not
Sabine
alone.
says.
And then
I shoot myself in the face, bring myself back to life, cut my head off, bring myself back to life again, and stab myself through the penis.
we start the fight.
All of which is less painful than watching for every episode of this series apart from episode 4.
Anyway, we continue the fight between Ahsoka and now Sabine. So Sabine deals with the
Shadow Troopers.
Shadow Troopers, thank you. And then Ahsoka bets Morgan. She kind of flicks her, and then she disarms her, and then she uses both her lightsaber that she's got remaining, and then Mother Talzin's blade to like cut her, and it leaves like 2 stripes, one green, one like white, where she cut her. And
cool little sequence out though, that little reversal and stuff like that. I did like that little bit.
It is. And Morgan drops dead, and then we flash back to the Star Destroyer, and the Mothers are like dead. And Thrawn's like,
it happens. Yeah, meh. Is what it is. And then Thrawn pretty much tells the captain, the ship gunners, whatever you want to call them.
Captain Enoch to open the front batteries.
Open front. Yes. It took me a second. I'm getting over the. I nearly said something really bad. The stupidness of this episode. Yeah, pretty much fire down on the temple, which comes to a bit of a shock to the sisters.
Yeah, I noticed should that. Say. They were like surprised.
They didn't look really happy about it. I don't know whether that's some of them might get played on
season 2
next season. Fucking because we want one. Pretty much open fire on the fortress, and yet again, Disney, every laser beam misses. Even though they're stood right on top of a fortress.
Out in the open.
For some reason, they start shooting at the bottom of the fortress.
Well, it is starting to crumble. And while it's crumbling, the Shadow Troopers are tracing them. Some of them are like falling through as it's like being raised from its ruins, essentially. It's basically just being brought down. And then Ahsoka and Sabine like jump off, and you're like, oh, they're dead. And the Shadow Troopers.
This is just a reference to fucking
Back to the Future.
Yeah,
it rises up.
God, I hate.
And then
business
so Pyongyang. Got about him. He managed to survive, and he saved them.
Him and the Stormfiller people got the shit working again.
And then Sabine turns around and goes, "See ya, Biff." And they fly off.
It's all awkward as fuck. I hate this episode. This is probably my least favorite episode of them all, to be honest. Apart from that little choreography. Basically they get rescued. They all jump aboard the ship, and I think one of them says, "Can we still catch them?" They boost all the energy to the engines and chase after Thrawn, who is now out of the planet's atmosphere. Chase after him, pretty much get right up his ass instantly because Disney. And then Thrawn asks, the ship is seen on Thrawn's ship's radar, and he asks to be patched through to Ahsoka's ship. And quite a cool little conversation happens.
It's a nice little exchange.
Yeah, I did like it. He mentioned Anakin and things of that sort. And then
the way he says it as well, it's when he goes,
"Yeah,
you were a worthy opponent today, Ahsoka Tano. I know you, I know your master." And then it's the line at the end when he goes, "You are very similar to him. I wonder if you will become similar." And it's Vader, and it's
that sort of sent shivers down my spine because I was like, "Oh, imagine if that were a thing." But then at that point, as he says that, does he say like goodbye or something?
He says basically that you will be trapped here. I have victory's mine today. You are where a Ronin belongs. And then he goes, "Long live the Empire," and then it fucking cuts to the fucking jump.
Yeah, it cuts to the jump, and Thrawn is officially out of here. The heroes are stranded, and the villains are en route to the known universe.
But Ezra is stowaway though,
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Ezra is stowaway,
and he also has a comlink, and he basically knows that they're looking for him, so he disguises himself as a stormtrooper. We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah. Sabine. After that, Sabine and Ahsoka then return to the rock filler things.
Do you not think when they jumps into hyperspace, though, it's kind of cool with like the trail behind?
Yeah, the little effect it leaves behind. Yeah, I don't begrudge the guys of sitting there and watching that trail because it was quite beautiful. But then we get to a very, very strange part of the episode that I feel was just shoehorned in any way, shape, or form. Sexy Shin is back for her one and only appearance in this episode. She appears on a hill beside the scavengers' camp. Yeah, and she's on her little fucking wolf thing, and she lights her saber and like
holds it to the sky.
Yeah, and then
she's commanding.
Nothing else happens. And then it cuts, even more annoyingly, to Bale and Skull.
No, you missed out.
For some reason,
you missed out the Ahsoka part as well with the owl, the Maori.
Yeah.
Basically, when they go back to the village...
There's a reason I'm missing these parts out.
When they go back to the village, before the Shin part, where he raises the lightsaber to the scavengers, they go back to the village with the Wind and the Willow rock people, and she looks out at the night sky, and she sees the Maori, which is an owl, which if you don't know what it is, basically, we touched on it before, but you have the Mortis gods, and Daughter, who is the representation of the light side, her form she takes is an owl, and you see the owl, and it's like, is this the Mortis god? And then, like Lank said, you cut to Balin, and do you want to go through it?
Yeah, so Balin, for some reason, is in America now, and he's stood on top of
Mount Rushmore. That's what I thought.
And it's like a big statue. It's sort of like
the carving
Fellowship of the Rings.
Yeah,
it's like Fellowship of Rings with the big statues, and he's got his hand out like that, and Balin's skull's stood on the edge of the hand. Yeah, looking out to the distance.
To the horizon.
And then that's all you see of Bale Skull and Shin Hati.
That episode.
There's no anything else.
Look,
I've
got a few thoughts on this.
Go on.
He stood on this cliff, and it pans out, and you see, and it's the face of the father. We've had the daughter in the previous scene. Now we've got the father, who was the balance. And then it pans out a little bit more, and you see it is the three of them, but the daughter is missing. It's been like destroyed. But you see the father, and you also see the son, who is the representation of the dark side. And it straight up looks like Sam Witwer. I'm just gonna put it out there. If we are gonna go the whole route of the Mortis gods, then Sam Witwer needs to play him in live action because he would fucking kill it. He is such a good actor and fits the role of just dark side embodiment so well. I think he could bang it.
I didn't notice that. I did not notice that. But at this point, my brain.
But yeah, you got the father. The daughter has destroyed her statue thing, but then you got the son, and it looks like Sam Witwer. And Balin is stood in the palm of the thing. And I just want to say, it's like, I don't know. I wish we'd seen more of him and Shin this thing, but it was a nice send off if it is the last time we see him. It was a nice send off to see Ray Stevenson, Balin's skull, in the palm of the god essentially, and then he's looking out to this like valley, and it just raises the question again of, are we going to see the mother? Are we going to see Abeloth? Is that what is calling to him? And it's just a big question mark, and I don't know what they're going to do. He survives, basically, is the spoiler.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is, if there haven't already been scenes filmed for season 2...
Do you think they cut stuff out and saved it for season 2?
Maybe, possibly, because...
I still see Shin killing him.
To be honest, that's a really good thought, because there is no way we've been so involved with this series for them to have one scene each in the final episode.
I could see her raising the scavengers and killing him.
Maybe, yeah, for abandoning him.
Yeah.
For abandoning her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But everything just... those two scenes I did not understand whatsoever. It's very confusing and very shoehorned in. Now that Lou said that about deleting stuff and maybe keeping it for season 2, that is a very good idea, and that's sort of maybe more of an explanation. But if that is not the explanation, and that is the last time that we see Bale and Skull, I think it's disgraceful how they've handled it. I know they can't really fucking film anymore and stuff like that, but it would just that no, it's shit.
I just think
I
just think they really wanted to get the idea of the Mortis gods. Have been hinting at it and teasing at it for a while, and then they wanted to get it in, but they kind of ran out of time, so they just threw it in at the end. I do like the idea, kind of, that they're trapped there and they're kind of like running their own stories in this other galaxy, and that's why they're not in the movies and future and stuff. I do like that idea if it means that we can have more stories in another galaxy where they're all trapped there.
In another galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and then
it jumps to Thrawn, back to Thrawn and his ship and the mothers, who are now encroaching on Athemir.
Yeah.
And we're just arriving after their jump, which, if you talk about Ahsoka's jump in the Purgles, that took 6 hours, and then Thrawn just arrives at Athemir in 12.5 seconds.
He's got engines, they've got whales. Engine beat whale.
Okay, and then it cuts to the New Republic ships, and there is a wild hare appears.
You missed out the cargo hold, where it's full of. It's like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's like.
That's actually a cool scene, because now that we know that there's a lot of like undead zombies, whatever you want to call them, that does again come into effect of what Sam said last episode.
Like a morgue, isn't it? Full of, like an army of the dead.
Is that pretty much an army of the dead? But then we do cut to Hera and the New Republic ships, and we get an Empire ship encroach on the Republican ships, and I just can't do it no more.
The Imperial
they had to do it, didn't they? They had to.
The Imperial shuttle got like a little escort, and it goes to Admiral Akbar's ship in the Republic fleet. It lands lands in the hangar bay. Hera and the boys show up. The Imperial shuttle, the doors open, the lift, what's it called, the ramp goes out, and you see a stormtrooper coming out, and they all like draw their weapons at him. They're all like, and it's kind of like standoff, and then Chopper just rolls up to him. There's some like, I don't know. I find it very hard to decipher what Chopper's meant to be saying, which has been a bit of an issue. But then Stormtrooper takes off his helmet, and it's Ezra, his glowing blue eyes, his eyes piercing the screen.
Yeah.
And Hera
cries.
Yeah, like the mother.
We get to look forward to the whole Heavy Rain saga of Jason. But it's
like her son. 2. It's like her son. It's like he's missing, and she looks at him and she's like, Ezra, and she's like, "Hi, Hera, I'm home."
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the best part of the show, the best part, Lank's favourite part, the Stalker. She's trapped with the little rock people, looking out at the night sky.
Yeah, and then her and Sabine chat shit for 12 minutes.
No, they say Ezra's where he needs to be, we're where we need to be.
They literally chat shit, and then Ahsoka goes to walk off. Sabine pretty much should just put a leg up on the side and look more like Luke Skywalker from fucking episode 4.
Binary Sunset.
She pretty much, it cuts to her, and she's going. No, alright. It cuts to Sabine, and then Ahsoka goes, "What's wrong?" And then Sabine goes,
"Shadows."
That's probably no. It's probably not. It's probably just shadows.
Shadows in the starlight. Which doesn't even really make sense as an analogy.
Yeah, she goes, "Oh, I feel like." I mean, you're on tenterhooks because you're like, yes. And then she just goes, "It's probably not. Probably not. And then for some reason, she walks off, and she walks past Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka like stares off in the distance, and she's just like
smiles
for 12 seconds, and then she walks off, and we get no explanation of what the fuck's just happened, and then the explanation comes at the end, which is the second best part of the episode. I want to say that fight choreography was the best part.
The grand reveal.
But, yeah, the grand reveal is the force that they can feel, because Sabine's fully active in the force now after 12 seconds of training. Yes, we get our final look of the series, hopefully the series, of Hayden Christensen, who is now a fully fledged Force Ghost.
Live action Force Ghost.
The thing is, it's so cool seeing as a Force Ghost. He lets out a wry little smile, like
looking down on them, and
it's ace. But it's just like the whole Sabine, who I feel
something. I feel a presence.
Yeah, I feel it don't matter. I mean, Ahsoka's just like, oh. And I'm like, why can't we handle this stuff better? Like, episode 4 did it perfectly. It did it perfectly. It ended on a cliffhanger. The reveal was good. The episode was good. This episode was probably the worst season finale I have ever seen since Lost. It was vile.
I don't think I'd go that far.
Even my quote says, "Even Hayden can't save the day."
I just had Hayden's back. Or smile. Goodbye. This might be the last time we ever see Hayden Christensen in live action. And that
I
that's
don't see it myself. If there is a season 2, we have to see him. They've revealed him as a Force Ghost. Surely he's gonna impart some wisdom on Ahsoka, and at least have somewhat of a impact on series 2. Not that I want a series 2, because this has just been. I don't. It's been shock. This series has been shocking.
I don't think it has. I think this has been the best live action Star Wars series. I think it's
Mandalorian
season 2.
Mandalorian season 3 were better than this.
I think this is the best live action show we've had from Disney.
There's something wrong with your fucking wiring in your brain.
I don't know. It wasn't the best episode, but I don't know. The hints at the Mortis gods with the son, the father, and the daughter got me really excited. Thrawn's back, which I'm excited by. I wish we'd seen more of Shin and Balin, but it's interesting where they've set their stories up. Obviously, there's the huge caveat of where do they go with Balin at this point, because Ray Stevenson's untimely passing.
Yeah, sadly passed. Rip.
But yeah, that was our roundup of episode 8, the finale, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord.
Warlord, yes.
I think we'll just speculate on season 2, and then we'll call it a day for now. And yeah.
Yeah, my speculation for season 2 is that I'm not gonna watch it. That's my speculation for season 2.
I very much disagree. I will be watching it. I will be a big fan of it. I really enjoyed this series. Like I said, I would give it a 9 out of 10 overall.
How?
I think this has been the best live action Star Wars we've had since episode 3. Maybe Rogue One. But this is definitely the best live action show we've had. I think we've had Shin Hati, fantastic new addition.
Unless it's just full of Shin Hati and Ray Stevenson, I can't really give a fuck.
Balin and Shin, fantastic new characters. Morgan was but she's dead now. Being thrown in live action was just a dream come true. Anakin being back and it being Hayden Christensen was
absolutely
by far the highlight, in my opinion. Absolutely loved it, and it's so good to see the recognition and the love that he's getting from the fan base, and he deserves it.
I second that.
I think they've set up some interesting storylines to see where it was. Thank God they did not go anywhere near the Mandalorian in this show. We've had enough of him being intrusive in other shows.
That's a good point, actually. I think Disney actually learned from Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. I actually thought Ahsoka possibly could die, because she's got to die at some point. We don't see her in the new movies. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, season 2. I think they're going to lean heavily on the Mortis gods angle and the whole Dathomir Witches angle, where they're going to bring them back. I think there's a possibility we even get a live action Cal Kestis in there, considering it's going back to Dathomir. Possibility. Sam Witwer as the son is just a must. It just has to happen at this point. Thrawn is back. Are we going to get some more Gideon?
If we get a Cal Kestis and a Sam Witwer in the next season, that's just a big dub, depending on how they handle both characters.
Well, Sam Witwer, you can't go wrong with that. It's so difficult to go wrong with that.
I know, but then it could just end up being a fucking Sabine, just like the most placid, boring Disney character, and you just feel like stabbing her all the time. And he could get stabbed by a lightsaber and not die.
You're still salty about that.
So is Qui-Gon Jinn. He was a Jedi Master. Anyway, on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you did enjoy this series of Lew and Lank on Ahsoka. If there is a season 2,
there will be.
Begrudgingly, I will be back.
There will be.
I have to. I'm contractually obliged at this point. So yeah, if you haven't watched the rest of the episodes, but we'll be down in the description below if you want to go check them out. There should be a full playlist of them. Lew's link is down there as well if you want to go check out his POV of this conversation. It's exactly the same. Maybe not, actually, because we're recording and editing ourselves, so it might be different. But yeah, go check him out in the description down below. And on that bombshell, I hope you all enjoyed the series. I hope you all enjoy the time until we next see you Star Wars related. And yeah, all you want to say before we sign off, Lou?
Read the series. Hopefully more to come from Disney. May the Force be with you.
May the Disney be with you. Peace.